Headlines, highlights, the questions burning up the sports world get answered right here. This isn't just another recap, it's the sports answer. And leading the charge, sharp, fearless, and always bringing the edge, your host, Rudy Campos Jr. If you're talking sports, you better have the sports answer.
Hey, good morning, Sports Answer fans. Rudy Campos Jr. for the Sports Answer, powered by Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Hey, man, today's the big game. Super Bowl 60 is here. The top two teams, the Patriots and Seahawks, are playing for that Lombardi Trophy. But with Salem Surround, your business is an automatic champion. Why? They provide the best in the business when it comes to digital marketing, website creation, just making your brand above and beyond better than everyone else. You are a champion every day of the week. No worries. Contact Salem Surround today, 210-526-3635. Or if you want to go to their website, salemsurround.com/San Antonio. As mentioned, we've got the big game today. Super Bowl 60 is upon us. It's happening tonight. Who do you have out there? Of course, that sports question that we get asked a lot is, who does the sports answer have? We're not switching our take at all. I'm loving the New England Patriots to beat and in some cases upset the Seattle Seahawks. I love the way Drake May's been playing. Mike Vrabel obviously has been to Super Bowls as well. This New England Patriots team from top to bottom reminds me of the Rams, the way I picked them in the beginning of the season to be your Super Bowl champions. They are loaded from top to bottom. And I love what Drake May's been doing. I think he has a small chip on his shoulder. Remember, I've been saying that Drake May was 1B to Matt Stafford's 1A when it comes to the MVP voting. We recently saw Matt Stafford at NFL Honors become your 2026 NFL MVP for the league. So much deserving. I think Matt Stafford put up, tremendous stats. He does deserve to be MVP. Also made the announcement that he is coming back for 2026 NFL football season. But Drake May played just as great as Matthew Stafford heading into this Super Bowl. The New England Patriots are playing top to bottom the best football right now in the NFL and not taking anything away from Seattle. Seattle has been the most dominant team, and especially on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to the last few weeks as well as the playoffs for the NFL season. But when it comes to it right now, I look at the experience that we're looking at now. Sam Darnold is a veteran when it comes to the NFL. The last few seasons, the one in Minnesota and then the one this season with Seattle, he's been playing like the Sam Darnold that was originally drafted out of the NFL draft. And Drake May, on the other hand, second year heading into that Mahomes and Brady like career already, just into his second year. He's just an all do everything quarterback. And that's the reason why I give the New England Patriots my approval and take them as my Super Bowl 60 champions. I just love what Drake May's been doing. I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is going to pester. It's going to make it very difficult for Drake May and the New England Patriots offense. But I also feel that, again, on the defensive side of the ball for the Patriots, their defense is not as good as Seattle's because Seattle's is elite, but the Patriots defense is right up there. They can compete and they can do some damage when it comes to Super Bowl 60 and the Seattle offense. Now, the one person that the New England Patriots have to contain is obviously Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's got to be able to control Jackson Smith and Jigba. How are they able to do that? You could run a double team on him, make somebody else beat you. Is that a possibility? Yes, it's a possibility. I love Kenneth Walker on the offensive side of the ball for the Seattle Seahawks. One guy you have to always keep an eye on is if you're going to double team Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you're going to make it very difficult for him. He's going to get his catches, yes. But Seattle has a guy on their team who you'll see in a little bit when it comes to my NFL prop bets and other and MVP bets. I have him circled. Why? Because he's been there before, and there's an opportunity for him to make a huge case in the Super Bowl as to why he was regarded as one of the best elite wide receivers in the NFL in years past. We'll get to that here in just a second. overall, I think, a few weeks ago I did say that this game I felt was going to be a high scoring game. I believe the total was 49 and a half when it came to the total points for the game. I called the over. I did like the over, but after going through a week of, NFL press conferences and media week and just kind of looking at a lot of the reports, I'm seeing, you see a lot of injuries on a lot of other guys. Nick Minari for Seattle, the safety. He's got, a little bit of injury bug. You saw Drake May dealing with a little bit of stuff here. Neither one of these guys is going to miss the Super Bowl. They're both playing. But, that stuff does kind of come into question, and that's why now I'm looking at it. I think I'm gonna take the under when it comes to the total points scored. I believe it's still at 49 and a half points. Get it free. 45 and a half points is what it is right now. I'm probably still gonna take the under on that. Originally, I was over. I'm taking the under. I'm looking at a final score right now of about 20. I'm thinking 24, maybe 24-20, 24-17, somewhere around there. 24-18 is what I'm taking when it comes to this game. That does put it up below the 45 and a half total point mark, but I think it's going to be like a 24-17, 24-18 game with me taking New England. Now, on top of that, the New England Patriots are plus 4.5 points. And of course, I'm taking the plus 4.5 points as the last line did come out, and it did have Seattle as a 4.5 point favorite. So, again, all in all, this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a very balanced game. It's going to be a very close game. Uh, who do you guys have out there? Do you have the Seahawks? Do you have the Patriots? Again, sports answer. We're taking the New England Patriots in this game. It's what some would consider an upset. Seattle, again, Seattle's been playing lights out. But again, so has the New England Patriots. I've had people come talk to me and say, well, if not for Bo Nix being out, the Patriots wouldn't be in the Super Bowl. Can never apologize for winning at all. They've been one of the best teams in the AFC and as well as the NFL all season. If Denver makes it over New England, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Both teams have been top teams throughout the entire season. Same thing with Seattle. Seattle worked its way up. You saw the likes of the Los Angeles Rams, they were nominating for a little bit. I mean, even I think the Bears were even number one in the NFC for a little bit there. But nonetheless, Seattle did come on top. They were the number one seed going into the NFC championship game in the NFC playoffs. But this is going to be a good game. It's going to be a great game. It could very well come down to a special teams play, which if it's a special teams play, then you've got Seattle at the top of that. I mean, Rashid Shaheed could easily take one to the house, turn the momentum, and then you're celebrating a Seattle Seahawks victory. Could it be the revenge game, for Seattle where you're supposed to run the ball at the, 5-yard line, 4-yard line, where the Patriots ended up getting an interception on Russell Wilson when he tried to do that slant pass instead of running the ball with Marshawn Lynch while the Seattle Seahawks were at the goal line. So it could be a revenge game as well. All in all, it's going to be a great game tonight. We're going to get into some of the prop bets and regular bets that we are looking at here on the Sports Answer, brought to you by Salem Surround 526-3635, 210-526-3635. Call them today. So looking at a couple of the prop bets here. Now, I'm going to go with the first couple of, these are coming off of Underdog and a couple of other sites as well. But Cooper Kupp over 3.5 receptions. This is where I mentioned earlier, where you have a guy, if you're double teaming Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp can be that little slant guy, get you those 3.5, 3-4 receptions a game here. Maybe just move the chains a little bit. You don't need Cooper Kupp to be the player that he once was. So that's why I'm taking Cooper Kupp on the over for 3.5 receptions. I expect to have maybe 4 or 5 catches this game. DeMarcus Lawrence over 0.25 sacks, over a quarter of a sack. They're going to get after Drake May. Now, yes, I'm taking the Patriots to win the game, but at the same time, I know it's going to be tough for Drake May. There's no doubt about that. Drake May's been sacked a ton this season, and I think it continues. I think DeMarcus Lawrence gets to him. I think he gets at least 1 sack in this game on Drake May. That's why for one of my fantasy prop bets here, I'm taking DeMarcus Lawrence over 0.25 sacks in this game. Then you're going to get into, before we get into the MVP talk, because these are all my dark horse MVPs. Patriots 4.5. I'm taking the points. Obviously, I'm taking the Patriots to win 24-18. So give me the Patriots and the points at 4.5. I'm taking them to win, like I said. So of course, I'm taking the points on this one. Also, if you look at Seattle defense, anytime touchdown, it's a plus 550. This could kind of go either way. I think either opportunity could be presented for Seattle or the Patriots to score a defensive touchdown. I like Seattle a little bit more. Their defense could cause a quick fumble and they could easily just take it back to the house. It could be an interception, take it back to the house. Anytime defensive touchdown, I'm taking Seattle on that plus 550. Last thing on the betting here, when it comes to Super Bowl MVPs, you obviously have you have the favorites: Drake May, Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker, even Jackson Smith and Jigba. Rashid Shaheed is actually one of the favorites to be an NFL Super Bowl MVP. I went more with dark horses here. These are my dark horses. So looking at Travion Henderson now, Ramondre Stevenson is going to be the favorite. He is the favorite to be an MVP of the Super Bowl when it comes to the running backs. But seeing Travion Henderson maybe breaking off a couple of long runs, maybe both of them being potential touchdowns for the New England Patriots, that's kind of why I have him as my first dark horse. It's plus 7,500. I mean, that's a to me that's kind of like in that middle. They're saying he has a really good potential to be MVP, but he's not quite there yet. And Travion Henderson, as you saw throughout the regular season for the Patriots, when he is on, he is on. He's a very difficult back to stop. He can really get going. And that's why I have him. When I saw him at 7,500 plus 7,500, I've said, you know what, I'm going to put him on one of my dark horses here. The other dark horse is who I mentioned earlier in the show, Cooper Kupp. Now he's at plus 9,000. Again, this is a guy that is a Super Bowl champion with the Los Angeles Rams. So Cooper Kupp used to be like the guy in football when it came to wide receivers. If you didn't think he was the guy, he was definitely one of the guys in the NFL. Getting traded away, obviously, because of the emergence of Puka Nikola. Getting traded away, his career has not become anywhere close to it. If there is ever a bounce back game where it could be beneficial for Cooper Kupp, it is the experience, and it is Super Bowl 60 for Cooper Kupp. That's why I have him as one of my dark horses for NFL Super Bowl MVP. Now, you got to take into consideration here. These are dark horses that I'm not saying run out and go put all, bet the house on all these guys. No, these are just not it. This is that little bit. Hey, I want to take an opportunity. I want to take a chance on this. I want to risk this. So these are the two guys that I like as well. And I've got one more to mention here in just a little bit. But again, Cooper Kupp is that guy who I feel, with the experience, with being Super Bowl challenged, being a part of the Rams defense, Rams for such a long time, coming into this Super Bowl, I think he has something to prove. He wants to prove it. And if it's going to be it's going to be tough life for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Well, they're going to need another guy. They're going to need another guy to come up with it. They're going to need another guy to show up. And Cooper Kupp is that guy. He could be that guy. Again, Rashid Shaheed is another guy to look out for. But if you want a true wide receiver dark horse when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks, it's going to be Cooper Kupp. Last but not least, my long shot for NFL Super Bowl MVP, DeMarcus Lawrence, 12,000 plus 12,500. I'm going to say this much about Lawrence here. Now, you look at that and you're like, that's kind of a definite no on that. But what did we mention earlier? The fact that Seattle's defense could be extremely difficult to score against. The pass rush could get there. If DeMarcus Lawrence gets to, Drake May, and he has a Myles Garrett, a Aaron Donald performance, he's got 3 sacks, maybe, 12 tackles, 3 sacks, maybe gets a 4th sack, and Seattle wins the Super Bowl. Then you've got to consider him an opportunity, give him the opportunity to be an NFL Super Bowl MVP in DeMarcus Lawrence. It's a very long shot. It's super extremely would be difficult, for him to actually win it. But again, when we're doing these prop bets, we're looking at extreme long shots. DeMarcus Lawrence has an opportunity to be a Super Bowl MVP. He's just going to have to really get a bunch of sacks. But again, these three guys that I mentioned, Travion Henderson, Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Lawrence, they're not getting any of the love or any of the looks when it comes to betting Super Bowl MVP. So these are dark horses for us. These are the three dark horses that we definitely like here on the Sports Answer. Again, Sports Answer is brought to you by Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Call them today. You are their MVP. You will forever be their MVP. You'll be the MVP when it comes to marketing and branding. It's Salem Surrounds 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of us here at the Sports Answer. What do you guys feel out there? Do you feel that Seattle is going to steamroll the Patriots, as I've heard some people say? Do you think the Patriots have a legitimate shot to beat the Seattle Seahawks? Going over through a lot of people online, it's actually just maybe, if I'm going on the record here, it's probably like 51% to 49% in favor of Seattle. I see a lot of people taking Seattle. I see a lot of experts taking Seattle, but I also see the same way when it comes to the Patriots. So kind of just looking it over, I'm seeing about 51% taking Seattle, 49% taking the New England Patriots. That's how close it is. And as for mentioned, we are taking the New England Patriots today. And my final score is 24-18 is what I'm taking for this game, Super Bowl 60. When we get back, NBA talk, NBA trade deadline hit this past week. Who are the winners? Who are the losers? Our Sports Answer fan question does ask that when it comes to the NBA trade deadline. Plus, you've got your Spurs Chisme segment. Stephon Castle did something last night that only one other Spur has done. What is that? We'll get to hear right here in just a little bit here. This is the Sports Answer, Rudy Campos Jr. Now a word from Salem Surround, our proud sponsors here on the Sports Answer, 210-526-3635. We'll be back.
In San Antonio, your business deserves more than noise. It deserves to be seen. SEO, social media, digital ads. If you're not showing up, you're losing customers. At Salem Surround San Antonio, we design digital strategies that work, from web design and SEO to social, podcast, and display ads. Real tools. Real results. Let's amplify your brand. Start today with a free digital presence evaluation. Salem Surround San Antonio, your brand, everywhere it matters.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Answer. That was Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. Contact them today so that your marketing, your digital marketing, website building, everything can be the absolute best in the business. Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of us here at the Sports Answer. Fan question of the week from Carl W. in Austin, Texas. Which team was the biggest winner at the trade deadline? Great question, Carl. Again, if you want to submit your Sports Answer questions, be sure just to leave a comment on this stream or on any of the shows that we've had. We've been getting them from a lot of other shows. We run a lot of short videos on YouTube. Just leave a question anywhere on there. Leave a comment. We can make your comment into a question for you in case you want to ask that. No matter what it is, just drop them there. But which team was the biggest winner at the trade deadline? So as we get into NBA trade deadlines, winners and losers, who did you think was the big winners out there? Who did you think were the biggest losers out there when it came to the NBA trade deadline? There was a lot of it's weird. There was a lot of movement. There was a lot of good movement there. Then you saw the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo, all the stuff that we heard about Giannis, throughout the season. He wanted to be traded. He doesn't want to be a part of Milwaukee. And he comes back, well, I love being in Milwaukee and this and that. And it kind of, for me personally, it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth over it because I didn't like the fact that Giannis was back and forth with everything. And that's kind of, that's, to me, that's just detrimental to a team. they're coming out. They're going to trade you. You want to be. You're not saying you want to be traded, but you don't want to be there. You want to win. Then you come out. I want to be here. I'm glad I stayed here. Then they come out. Well, at the trade deadline, we're shopping Giannis around. We get all these offers, but we're not taking one. It's a game of cat and mouse that, to me, is just ridiculous, and I cannot stand it. We're going to get into the losers here in just a little bit, but first, your NBA trade deadline winners. Oklahoma City for us. It's going to be Oklahoma City, Cleveland, Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics, and the Utah Jazz. James Harden now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it wasn't just the James Harden trade that did it. Darius Garland got sent to the Los Angeles Clippers. Nobody really knew much about Harden wanting to be traded until really a few days before the trade deadline. And you started to think, well, is this it for the Clippers? I mean, you trade James Harden. Paul George is on a 25-game suspension because of, substance abuse. Then you go and make another deal. Zubac was traded out from the Clippers as well, leaving just Kawhi Leonard. But to me, that was a team that lost at the trade deadline, because if they are going to be bad, Oklahoma City owns their first round pick this season. So if it's a lottery pick, Oklahoma City, well, they're getting another lottery player in this draft, thanks to the Clippers and thanks to the Paul George and SGA deal. So nonetheless, the reason why the Cavaliers are one of my biggest trade winners is the fact that, yes, they did get James Harden. I know James Harden is not the greatest playoff performer. And to me, that's where it's going to come into question. He's got to have the ball in his hand. He's a ball dominant player. I don't like the style of play that he brings to Cleveland, but they needed some kind of upticking when it came to the Cavaliers. They're not playing the same way that they had been in years past. They were a number one seed for a while there last season. So the James Harden deal is a needle mover. It does move in the right direction. I hope that he can coexist with Donovan Mitchell. If they can, that can be an elite, a super godly elite backcourt in James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. They were able to keep Jared Allen. They have Evan Mobley there. The other guy that they brought in, actually the two guys they brought in that I really love for this team, and this is why I like Cleveland is winning at the deadline a lot more, is not because of the Harden, because of the Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder move that they made as well with Sacramento. Schroeder comes in, gives you a backup point guard. He can score. He's battle tested, one word that we use a lot here. He's battle tested. He's been through the rigors of the NBA, and he can provide a spark at just about any time. Keon Ellis, big time for me. He's going to bring some defensive presence to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Offensive game. These two guys added besides Harden, for me, puts Cleveland a step closer at moving up, way up into the standings here. Oklahoma City, with the addition of Jared McCain, that was big because SGA is out for at least, I believe, 2 weeks or 16 games. I cannot remember. I know he's not going to play in the NBA All-Star game. He has an abdominal strain. And those are kind of injuries that can linger throughout the NBA season. So getting Jared McCain, who was coming off a potential Rookie of the Year run until he got injured, where Stephon Castle became Rookie of the Year. But before his injury, he was pretty much running away with the Rookie of the Year for the Philadelphia 76ers at the time. Now he's a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City just got a huge player for them now that SGA is out. That's going to be one to watch. The Boston Celtics, they went out and they added Nikola Vucevic. And that is, again, another piece that Boston needs. They're sitting at 34-18, first in the Atlantic Division. Personally, myself, I did not have Boston doing this with Jason Tatum out, especially, Jaylen Brown being the main guy in Boston. I will gladly admit I did not. I had Boston maybe no higher than a 7th, 8th seed at best. I had them as a play-in team at the beginning of the season. I figured that, Joe Mazzulla just didn't have the team that he normally had. Al Horford would have been gone. Porzingis was gone. It's just a lot of different faces and a lot of guys that had to step up. You've seen these guys step up. One guy that I talked about during the draft was Hugo Gonzalez, And you're seeing Hugo Gonzalez step up for the Boston Celtics. They go out and add a major piece in Vucevic. When I say major piece, this is where the Celtics could potentially say, you know what, we are putting our pedal to the metal and we are running with this. Vucevic is a difference maker for Boston. Fantastic move there. Also looking at the Utah Jazz, the Jazz went out and got Jaren Jackson Jr. They were able to keep, guys like Lauri Markkanen. They still have Walker Kessler on the roster as well. Keontae George, Ace Bailey. They have Yusuf Nurkic. The Jazz have quietly put together a really well-built team. Now, let's put a little asterisk on this. The Jazz are not going to compete this year. They want to have one of the top 4 picks if they can in this draft to add, a Peterson, a Boozer, or a DeBonza. I mean, they can easily do that. And if they do that, look at the Utah Jazz as being my surprise team next season. Years of losing in Utah recently, it's about to change. They have just built a massive front court in Markkanen, Jaren Jackson. You can use Nurkic or throw in, Walker Kessler. That is a massive, massive, massive front court right there. Likes of Ace Bailey once he gets going. Then, like we mentioned, you've got Keontae George. We've seen how he's been able to perform this year. Add another draft pick, a high lottery pick to this team. This team's going to be pretty deadly going into next season. Indiana Pacers are our last winners. Simply put, I mean, they got better at the end of the trade deadline with the Zubac trade. Zubac gives them the inside presence that they're missing when they lost Miles Turner. So, you've got Nembhard. Furpy's been playing good. You're going to get, Halliburton back next season. They're going to hope. Now, the thing was they gave the first round. They should be able to keep that first round pick. I think if it falls between 5 and 9 or 5 and 8 or somewhere around there, it goes to the Clippers, but the Pacers they're going to do everything and anything they can to keep that pick, which I'm sure that they will. So you add a potential big time lottery pick, possibly maybe 1 or 2 in the draft. Now you're talking about, okay, Halliburton, maybe a Peterson Halliburton combination would be astronomically good for the Indiana Pacers to go along with Nembhard, Nesmith. You'll still have Pascal Siakam. You add Zubac in there. I mean, the Indiana Pacers are looking mighty good next year going into the season. Now, they're not going to be a surprise team for me because they made the NBA Finals last season. But, again, they could compete very well easily here. Real quick, let's go to our NBA losers. See the Anthony Davis trade right there with the you see the Dallas Mavericks logo. Basically, Dallas got nothing in return for Luka Doncic by trading Anthony Davis. That's a really bad look for Dallas. I mean, at the time, I said, you know what? I can understand why it was made. Now, I just simply cannot understand why it was made at all. Terrible trade for Dallas when it came to the Doncic thing, but now even more terrible that they traded the pieces that they got, the main piece that they got for Luka Doncic over to Washington. Wizards are building with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Those guys could stay healthy. It could potentially be really good, especially in the Eastern Conference. We'll see how that plays off, but I'm not calling the Wizards losers in this trade deadline. I'm just showing the Anthony Davis graphic there for those of you that are out there because of the Dallas Maverick move. Milwaukee Bucks are on there. It's not because of the Bucks. It's because of the Giannis thing. I think all the talk, all the stuff going around, the back and forth, as I mentioned earlier, the banter between the Bucks, Giannis, I don't want to be here. I want to be here now that the trade deadline's over. I'm here. I'm staying. Let's rebuild. Let's do this. Come the NBA offseason in the summer, right around draft time, you're going to hear more Giannis talk. And you know what? I think that's probably when he does get dealt at that time. So the reason why I have it as a loser up here is because it's just the banter back and forth. You either trade him or you don't. There's no reason to go back and forth on it. Last but not least, the Chicago Bulls. They're little minor losers here only because They traded for every guard in the NBA, leaving them, I think, with the tallest player of like 6'8". I mean, they had nothing but a guard lineup out there. So didn't quite sure understood what they were doing out there. They did end up trading Kobe White as well. I did like a lot of the players they got in return in some of these deals. So nonetheless, I mean, those are your NBA trades, winners and losers here. Real quick, we got to get into Spurs Chisme. Here's your Spurs Chisme segment.
So, like, I hear about the Spurs this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs chisme. Nine, por favor.
All right, in a victory last night, Stephon Castle had a 40-point triple-double, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. Believe he shot 75+% from the field, which, again, I don't think that's been done since Wilt Chamberlain. I have to look back at my notes here, but I believe that's the last time it was done. Last time a Spur had a 40-point triple-double, and the only other time a Spur has had a 40-point triple-double is David Robinson way back in the day. So, again, congratulations, Stephon Castle, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. The real quick on the Chisme segment, when it comes to the Spurs, this team right now, we're going to keep it simple. We understand they did not make a move. They didn't trade Jeremy Sohan. He's still with the roster. Could he be bought out? The potential's there. This team as is a piece or two away that could be done through the buyouts. The players that are going to be bought out by other teams could potentially be candidates for the San Antonio Spurs. Chris Boucher, he more likely will be bought out. He shoots about 36% from three-point range. That's a guy the Spurs could go out and get. A guy mentioned is Chris Middleton, if he is. Now, they're saying he's not, but if he is bought out. Chris Middleton, majority of Spurs fans say he's old. He's done. He's not good. You don't need him to be good. You don't need him to be great. You just need him to knock down some shots. Go back in the day, Spurs title runs. You had, great veterans, Terry Porter back in the day, Mario Elie back in the day in their first title run. You've got Michael Finley, Steve Smith. A lot of these guys were brought in because, yes, they were all-stars. They were dogs in the fight. They all provided something, that is veteran leadership and the chance. When they had the moment, they seized it. They were able to knock down key shots. It may not necessarily be in NBA final games. Could have been a playoff game. Could have been a regular season game that made a difference in getting that 1 seed or 2 seed. So Spurs fans, yes, they didn't make a move at the trade deadline. Not a big deal. The second part of the trade deadline is the buyouts. Who gets bought out? Who's available? Cam Thomas just became available. Brooklyn ended up doing a buyout with him. So he's available. Another young player that could definitely make a difference for San Antonio. But as of right now, the Spurs, I would say, are a 1 or 2 piece away from being the top team in the Western Conference and being legitimate contenders, title contenders. I've said it on record many times. I don't expect them to win the title this year. Can't see that. I think youth really is a factor in this. We've got to see how they are in the playoffs first. They could surprise everybody in the playoffs. Regular season, they've grown up. They're adults. They're passing. Playoff-wise, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different world. Congratulations to Stephon Castle. Again, 40-point triple-double. 40 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. That is your Spurs Chisme segment for today. And guys, girls, be sure to go to Answer Now TV. Hit that subscribe button so you can catch the Sports Answer every single Sunday. We've got more faces. We've got more shows coming up. We've got more content coming up for y'all. This is just the beginning. Enjoy Super Bowl. And also, when you need that lift, you need your brand to knock it out of the park, to score that winning touchdown, it's Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. SalemSurround.com/San Antonio. Call them today. Visit the website. Get started today. There's no tomorrow. It's today. Get started today. Contact them. That way your business can thrive and be the best out of every business out there. That's Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. Enjoy Super Bowl 60. Who do you have? Patriots and Seahawks we've got the Patriots. And again, who's going to be the MVP? Drop that comment below on the show here. This is Rudy Campos Jr. for the Sports Answer. We'll see you guys next week.
You've been listening to The Sports Answer with Rudy Campos Jr. Today's show was brought to you by Salem Surround San Antonio, helping local businesses grow with digital strategies that work. Visit salemsurround.com/San Antonio to learn more. We'll see you next time on The Sports Answer.